Chapter 10, in which Princess Kitty and the Pratchetts arrive in Bomvaria. The conductress announced, "We now arrive in Bomvaria. We hope you enjoy this luxurious ride at the cat bus. Sleep well? Good. That means you have enough energy for a new day. Now hold tight until the bus comes to a complete stop, and hope he doesn't fall asleep before we depart. Excellent. You may now exit and do mind your step. And make sure you say goodbye to my cats, but don't worry. You'll see them again someday." Todd and Audrey were the first to leave the cat bus, then Grandpa Jack. When Princess Kitty is ready to leave, the conductress tells the Pratchetts, "If you three won't mind, I have some business I want to discuss with the Princess Kitty alone. Neko kara neko. And then you can be on your way with her." As soon as the Pratchetts walk off, Princess Kitty asked,
"What sort of business do you want from me?"
The conductress grins wider and gives her a bell made of solid brass with a black handle on top.
"Why are you giving this to me?"
Princess Kitty asked. "Why, there must be someone who can take the children and their grandfather back home. That bell can summon this bus, and he'll do just that. But it can also be useful."
"Do tell! I don't want them to wait longer for me."
"I'm certain you get the feeling of what trouble lies ahead out there for you and your friends. So, if you somehow get stuck in a terrible situation, one ring from this little bell can summon the cat bus, and then he will surely deal with it." Princess Kitty rings the bell for the bus to hear, causing him to growl louder. "And that's genuine brass. A thing of beauty is a joy forever," purred the conductress and bowed. "If Amaterasu's power isn't enough, there's nothing to fuss, for one ring on this bell will immediately summon the cat bus." As soon as Princess Kitty got out, the cat bus heads down the hills and out of sight. She can hear Grandpa Jack saying, "Kitty, come look at this." She conceals the bell inside her leotard and joined the Pratchetts, who were standing near a sign that said, "Sie betreten jetzt Bomvaria." "I can't believe the cat bus actually took us there," Audrey squeaked.
"The cat bus is true to his word,"
Princess Kitty said. "But wait," Todd said. "What does the sign say?" Below the sign, it states as follows: "Im Auftrag der Heinrich Freiherr von Bratwurst, der Herrscher dieser Stadt, Spaß jeglicher Art wurde für reichswidrig erklärt, unmoralisch und reichswidrig, und jedes Kind wandering herum in der Straße nach der Schule unter Arrest gestellt wird und im Kerker geworfen. Kein Scherz." "I can't read this," Grandpa Jack said. "And I don't think the children can't either."
"Well, never mind the sign,"
Princess Kitty said.
"What we want is an adventure, and this is it."
"The conductress did mention Bomvaria in her song," Todd said. "Bomvaria is where we'll be in a real quest. This relentless town will persuade us to figure out what's best."
"And a quest we shall have. There's no turning back now."
She points at what's behind the welcome sign.
"Look there!"
They did, and they were astonished by what they saw. Maybe Bomvaria has something for them to work with after all. In Bomvaria, there was a large village with houses of red tiled roofs. Further into the distance, past the village, built on top of a rugged hill, was a colossal limestone castle. "It's like something out of a storybook," Audrey said. "Isn't it, Grandpa?" "I don't know, children," Grandpa Jack said. "Please don't get overexcited. I'm sure none of the people knew exactly who we are since we came here. In other words, we're newcomers to this place." "Will there be any children?" Todd asked. "Might be. What kind of place would ever prohibit children?
Well, what are we waiting for?
Princess Kitty asked. We decided to go to the beautiful castle, Audrey said. The one on top of the hill.
And it's the castle we shall go. Now remember, Pratchetts, first impression is very important. There's already a village ahead. We could ask someone how to get to the castle. We could also get some food or something for us there.
Oh, yes, Kitty, Grandpa Jack said. A fancy full-course meal for us, with dessert, too. Without another word, the Pratchetts followed her into the village. When they reached the nearby village, they passed by an old man pulling a donkey along. Princess Kitty and the others assumed he might know how to get to the castle as Grandpa Jack approached him. Excuse me, sir. You wouldn't happen to know how to get to the castle, would you? He asked the villager, who didn't even stop to answer. Hey, he's talking to you, Todd calls out to the villager. Tell us how to get there. The villager kept on going, not even responding to any of the visitors. What's with him? Audrey asked in confusion. I have no idea, Grandpa Jack said. Now what? He only looked at the entrance arch from which the villager had walked through as he got lost in thought. He had no idea why the villager hadn't given them the answer, but maybe someone else in the village might be of help. His thoughts were suddenly interrupted as he heard Princess Kitty speak up.
If nobody in the village can help us, we might as well find our way to the castle ourselves,
she said.
We don't want to stand around all day not knowing where to go.
The deeper the group went into the village, the more villagers they came across that didn't speak with them. Why everyone won't speak to them, Grandpa Jack and his children didn't know. Why is no one speaking to us? Asked Todd. Grandpa Jack looked at all the villagers. I have no idea. Suddenly, it dawned on Princess Kitty as she noticed something. There were no children around playing in the sunshine. She leaned towards the children.
I think you two were the only children in this village.
There has to be more than just ours, Kitty, Grandpa Jack said. Besides, they must have been busy doing their chores. A bugle was heard, startling the group. Audrey even yelped before she held her brother closely. Ah, maybe someone will help us get to the castle after all, Grandpa Jack said. An army of soldiers on horses charged into the town square. As soon as they saw the Pratchetts, the leader of the soldiers orders his group to stop. To the concern of the visitors, the leader of the soldiers is not happy. Halt! He shouted suddenly. Todd, Audrey, and Grandpa Jack stopped dead in their tracks. He had such a fearful appearance that one look at him would fill you with horror. His beard was as black as night, his mouth was as white as an oven, his teeth like yellow fangs, and his eyes a glowing red coal, the other covered with an eye patch. In one of his huge hairy hands, a long saber swished through the air in a dangerous way. He and the soldiers are wearing matching uniforms. A black and red tunic with red epaulets, white trousers, black boots, and a black shako with a red feather on top. At the unexpected apparition, no one even dared to breathe. One could almost hear a fly go by. Those poor children and grandfather trembled like leaves in a storm. Why have you stumbled around in the streets with your two children when they're supposed to be in school? The huge leader asked Grandpa Jack, with the voice of an ogre suffering from a cold. School? Grandpa Jack asked. Today's Saturday, sir. There's no school back where we came from. Believe us, sir, we mean no harm. Wait. You say two? No, you're mistaken. There's only 4 of us. So do you think I'm stupid, then? The leader shouted. I only saw the 3 of you. When Grandpa Jack looks around, he saw that Princess Kitty was gone. Oh, he groaned, then thought to himself, You've done it again. You better answer me immediately, or else you and your children will face the consequences. The leader roared, his huge saber high in the air. Okay, I'll tell you, Grandpa Jack said. We've just arrived here, expecting to find any fun in this place. Fun! The leader bellowed, his face turning red.
What's wrong with fun? I didn't mean to offend you. We're sorry if it offends you.
Not as sorry as you three are going to be. Fun of any kind is against the law, by order of the Baron.
Against the law?
Grandpa Jack protests.
Then the Baron, whoever he is, must be mad as a nest full of angry wasps.
The leader swings to the huge saber at his neck, but the blade was mere inches from it. We do what the Baron does. His word is always law, the leader roared. And those who deny shall be executed on the spot.
Executed?
Todd and Audrey screamed in horror.
As in put to death?
That's exactly what it means.
Oh no!
Grandpa Jack wailed as the children began to whimper.
You can't do that! Please don't execute me and my grandchildren! At least let us off with a warning, and from now on, we never think about fun in this place again! Please, sir, have pity! You must have some sympathy!
Enough! The leader bellowed. Instead of executing you, you will join your children at the refuge. Maybe that'll give you three a lot of time to not even think about fun. One soldier shackled Grandpa Jack's hands together, along with Todd and Audrey. A horse-drawn cage wagon is summoned by the leader, and once the Pratchetts are hauled in there, the door to the cage slams shut. The leader points his long saber and roared, "Send these children and their grandfather to the refuge!" With a crack of the driver's whip, the wagon zooms off.
Excuse me,
Grandpa Jack said to the driver sitting on the perch.
What's this refuge?
A workhouse the refuge is, the driver snapped. A workhouse for worthless little nobodies like you and your children.
So there are children in this village?
Of course there are. Whoever heard of a village without children? But once they're out of school, they better think twice before wandering around in these streets.
But there is no school on Saturday.
On Saturdays there is school for the children who are lectured to respect the country of Bomvaria, making them unallowed to have any fun. Those who survive will be sent to re-education camps. Perhaps you've seen the sign.
We did, but we can't understand what it said.
It's traditional Bomvarian.
Bomvarian? I'm not familiar with that language.
In Bomvarian language, it said, "By order of Baron Heinrich von Bratwurst, the ruler of this town, fun of any kind has been declared illegal, immoral, and unlawful. And any child caught wandering around in the streets after school will be placed under arrest and thrown in the dungeon. No kidding."
We didn't know that fun was illegal to begin with, but that's an unfair law.
Grandpa Jack was shocked.
This Baron of yours have no right to treat children like this.
Shut up, you! Our Baron can treat them however he wants. You, however, are beginning to cause trouble. Now sit down and shut up until we get to your destination. And then the driver cracked his whip.
I had to ask, Grandpa Jack whispered. How stupid of me. The nerve of that cruel Baron.
Please, Grandpa, Todd said. We don't want to get in any more trouble.
I know. But also the nerve of that Princess Kitty. She left us again. I really don't think I'm going to trust that cat girl.
It's not her fault for leaving us. Maybe she doesn't want to be seen. She thought that the people in Bomvaria won't believe in anything. She must be believed to be seen. There has to be a reason why.
And those children in school, no fun before they grow up? I don't think they'll get ahead in life. But whatever is the case with Kitty, she better come back here and save us. And as for that horrid Baron, I hope he get what's coming to him.
And who is Baron von Bratwurst, you ask? Well, for the last 15 years, Baron Heinrich von Bratwurst had ruled over Bomvaria from its rightful ruler, and made life in the town completely miserable under his unfair laws. He resides in Castle Bratwurst, the castle on the hill that Todd and Audrey wanted to go. Even if the castle looks like one from a storybook, they'd be shocked if they ever found out that the castle was the home of a dictator. Baron von Bratwurst was really a fat, fierce, bad-tempered old tyrant with a thick neck, big shoulders, thick arms, sinewy wrists, and powerful legs. Looking at him, even though he's fat, You got the feeling that this was someone who can bend iron bars and tear books apart. And his face, I'm afraid, hardly resembles a normal human being. His face is cold as stone and has a drooping mustache under his squinted eyes. You can also tell that he's a tyrant by his clothes. He had his black military tunic with a gold sash, red epaulets, and medals of honor on his left breast. The massive thighs which emerged from out of the tunic were encased in a pair of red trousers, which displayed his calf muscles to perfection. On his feet, he wore long boots. You have no idea what cruel deeds he'll execute. But, and here comes the big but, it bounds to be much, much worse. His throne room inside his white castle is a sumptuous church-like hall with its massive 4-meter-high chandelier that occupies the 3rd and 4th floors and the entire west section. It was filled with everything a leader would want. It was decorated with a large sofa, a huge throne, and even a desk. The walls were decorated with black banners that hang limply. They have the shape of a wolf's head in red. Sulking in his throne with a well-preserved frown, Baron von Bratwurst said in his Bomvarian dialect, "You know what infects my kingdom the most of all, despite being at home at school all day? It's these children. Miserable children. Useless children. A heap of pathetic, good-for-nothing worms." He was obviously in an ugly mood, and someone who was joining him knew it every time. Joining him was a short, vile, and sadistic man with menacing dark eyes under his spectacles. His clothing was all black. Black trench coat with a belt tied together, black bowler hat, black shirt, black trousers, black boots, black gloves with sharp claws, 4 on each finger. His name is Ernst Randolph, and he was the Baron's advisor and most loyal follower. "I asked you why, my advisor," Baron von Bratwurst went on. "Do tell," Randolph said. He was sitting by the sofa and helped himself to a link of sausages on a plate. "So many children are too much for me," Baron von Bratwurst stated. "You think your gods will do better, mein Baron?" "Better? Whatever they do to those children, Herr Randolph, it won't be enough. Discipline won't be enough." He then walked away with Randolph following as he said, "Well, it's about time we make change here." Randolph was dissatisfied. "And what are you going to do about these children?" "I will give them sweets," Baron von Bratwurst rumbled. "Sweets?" "Jawohl. I'll bring them the sweets to the repulsive and worthless little children of Bomvaria." "Does that include the children at school?" "Never. Those who are educated enough shall not receive such fate." "What do you think sweets would do to them?" "I was hoping you'd ask." Baron von Bratwurst grinned. "I give them sweets at my dining hall in the east. More sweets they could ever savor. Once they consume them, it will be impossible to stop." "And then what?" asked Randolph. "Then the child starts to change, starts to become fatter, starts growing both a snout and a curly tail. All is happening as the child consumes my sweet. Before you know it, the child is not a child any longer. It is a pig." "A pig, you say? What a genius thought." "Why, my dining hall will be swarming with pigs. But there's one catch, and you will like this one, won't you? Once the children are turned into pigs, you shall order my guards to transfer the children from my dining hall to my slaughterhouse in the courtyard. They'll be cured into smoked pork, bacon, sausages, gammon, pork ribs in the summer, and smoked ham. With the number of children in Bomvaria, we'll have enough pork for an entire year," Randolph said with glee.
Now you're getting somewhere, my advisor.
Baron von Bratwurst exclaimed.
Then what are we waiting for? Shall I head to the kitchen and order the cooks to make the sweets for the children, my Baron? Jawohl. You shall, my advisor. Are there any questions before our conversation is finished?
I have just one. What happens if a grown-up happens to eat one of the sweets in your dining hall?
That's just too bad for the grown-up. The bigger, the better, swine.